My friends, if you haven't, go and get yourself 8 missions in Ukraine, my book that I've been working on for the last year and a half, and especially for you. These are your missions and this is your doing in Ukraine. Funny stuff in here, serious stuff in here. You get to laugh and you get to cry. Go and get it for yourself or for somebody who needs their eyes to be opened about Ukraine. Links in the description below, my friends. I would like to congratulate you and congratulate me also. Russia reached 1 million casualties. Now this is a congratulatory matter and I already know which kind of comments I'm going to get. Artur, you psychopath, how can you be so happy about death and suffering? Like Donald Trump is saying, young men are getting killed. Stuff like that. He doesn't give a rat's ass about young men getting killed. So doesn't Putin. Nobody does. These young men getting killed are the young men who wish to make genocide in my country. So yes, I am a psychopath and I'm congratulating you on this milestone, 1 million occupiers as casualties. Now, of course, actually deaths, KIAs about these are 1/3, about 330,000. Another third of them might be heavily wounded, the ones who definitely won't return to the war effort, and then another 1/3 is lightly wounded. So yes, important thing to take out of this is KIA's 1/3 of this. But congratulations, my friends, this is very nice. Some time has passed since Operation Spiderweb. You know, when Ukrainian drones eliminated 1/3 of Russian nuclear-capable bomber fleet. Now we know what's the outcome of this, and it's beautiful. It's even visualized for you right here. Before that Operation Spiderweb, Russian Tu-95s and Tu-22s, when they wanted to bombard Ukraine, they had to fly a few hours before releasing their missiles and then flying back. Well, now, my friends, they have to fly a lot more. Enemy's Tu-95 MS planes fly around 12,400 kilometers or 23 hours in the air to bomb Ukrainian cities. This is how difficult the UAV attacks on Olenia and Bela air bases made life for the Russian bombers. Tracking these bombers tells us that Russians are hiding 7 Tu-160 planes in the east of the Russian Federation at 2 airfields, as far as 6,770 and 7,250 kilometers from Ukraine. Tu-22s from Olenia now sometimes fly to the Sovietsky airfield, which is located in the Komi Republic, 2,400 kilometers from Ukraine, and Tu-95s now fly between 3 air bases, and you can all see it right here. They are hugging the United States border in Alaska. It's safer for these bombers there because they have Trump's protection, of course, than near Ukraine. See, Russia is so big, but still they have to send their bombers as far as possible from Ukraine because they will be destroyed otherwise, and now they will have to fly over 10,000 kilometers for each sortie. After Operation Spiderweb, the Russians relocated their strategic bombers to the far east in Kamchatka. Wow, my friends. Nice. My friends, today I would like to introduce you to #1 news comparison site in the whole world, Ground News. And I chose a very specific piece of news, which is absolutely massive, because 1st of June was the date where Ukrainian drones destroyed 1/3 of Russian nuclear-capable Tu-95's fleet. And I have this piece of news right here. Zelensky says audacious strikes on Russian air bases will go in history books. Where did I find it? Will you go to Ground News homepage? I clicked for you, and here I have 2 topics chosen for me specifically, Ukraine and Ukraine war, and it gets all these topic news for me right in front, so it's easy to find it. Now, Ground News lays out right in front of your eyes different charts on the right here. We begin with the coverage details. Total news sources right now is 17, but it's gonna be a lot bigger, believe me. 44% leaning right, which brings us to the bias distribution chart, which is next. 33% leaning left, and it's all nicely and beautifully visualized for you, so it's easy to understand. Below that, we have the factuality chart, which says if it's mixed factuality, low or high factuality. This specific one is 56% high factuality, and nothing below that is worth my time. And of course, below that, you get the ownership tab, because every owner has their own agenda. Is it owned by a person, a media conglomerate? Is it owned by an organization? They all have their own ideas to push. Right, and here you get all the articles with different titles, different wordings in the headline. For example, Lean Right. Check out this title. Zelensky hails brilliant drone strikes on Russian airfields. And also they give you the ownership with a special little color right here. They give you the factuality. For example, this one is mixed, so I'm not going to click on it. I'm not going to devote my time to this one. Has to be high factuality. Politically, it has to be in the center, and then I'll read it. By the way, my friends, for a limited time, you can get the very same plan I am using, but for half the price. Just go to ground.news/Artur or scan the QR code on the screen to get their unlimited access Vantage plan for just $5 a month. Or you can gift it to someone you know and have more informed conversations. Call out one-sided narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I can only promote brands I vet, so I think you will find Ground News as valuable as I do. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. Connected to bombings, we go to the front line, but this time it's the Russian guided bombs on the front line. And looking at the moon surface, or however you call it, when fields have this dotted landscape, moon surface, moon arrow, I don't know. Looking at these satellite images, you can tell where the Russians are bombarding the most, and then you can tell where they plan to attack. Seen from space, the Russian army is carrying out a massive airstrike preparing against the second Ukrainian defensive line. I located nearly 1,000 airstrikes on a small area of the front line between Bakrovsk and Konstantinivka. And you can see these small holes right there. These are FAB 250 and FAB 500s. Russians use a massive amount of them, and they produce a massive amount of them. They're cheap, they're stupid and dumb, but they hit an area plus minus 100 meters. If you use a big amount of them, they will do the job. They're very dangerous and unfortunately result in a lot of Ukrainian frontline losses. This is simply massive. In a small area of the front, I mapped around 950 recent airstrikes scattered on fields and forest stripes near Ukrainian positions. And we can see before and after also. This is before, and you can see the Ukrainian trench line and defensive positions, bigger foxholes on steroids, you could call them. And now we have Russians bombarding and bombarding and bombarding. In a few weeks, 1,000 aerial bombs have fallen here, most of them guided bombs. Those airstrikes are very recent. They started around May 25, less than 20 days ago, after Russian troops made gains on the Bakrovsk-Konstantinivka defensive line. You can see how Ukrainian positions disappear after repeated airstrikes. Why is this important? Because this is 21st century Russian style of warfare. This is how they do it. Massive usage of explosives. I use the word explosives because sometimes it's bombs, sometimes it's drones, sometimes it's something else. Massive usage. You oversaturate an area with explosives, and then you send in your small groups of teams without any armor. You send them in. If they get destroyed, you bombard more. You send them in again. If they get destroyed, you repeat. It's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It takes a lot of casualties on the Russian side, but this is their strategy right now. This area is the one I mapped as the next area of Russian offensive, which will try to reach Drogivka, damn the name, and avoid direct fighting inside Bakrovsk. Yeah, it's the Bakrovsk front, and you can see the Ukrainian defensive lines. These yellow lines on this map are Ukrainian anti-tank ditches and defensive positions for infantry. On Sentinel-2 images, you can see how massive those airstrikes are. Often precise and mainly on tree lines. It is a direct response to new Ukrainian strategy of smaller hidden positions on tree lines. Yes, what the Ukrainians are doing also, adapting to this style of warfare, is not like they are digging these big defensive lines like the Maginot Line, only smaller. But now the recent adaptation is to put small, if Russians attack with small units, Ukrainians put small units to defend. not to hold a massive defensive line, but scattered across different tree lines, smaller defensive positions. And then we see how Russians react. They bombard these positions with the FABs. Thousands of them, as we can see. These red dots right here are craters of FAB 250, FAB 500, FAB 1000. If you use enough of them, they do the job. So what do you gotta do? You gotta take out the plane. You gotta take out the Archer, not the bomb. It would be incredibly stupid to start fighting against these bombs in the air. You gotta shoot down the plane and destroy the airfields. Ukrainians are having issues with shooting down these planes. They succeed every now and then, but they are strategically targeting airfields where these fighter bombers get up to shoot these FABs. Now, my friends, congratulations, number 2 for you today. It must be a good day for you because you end the week with 2 different congratulations. This lieutenant colonel is called Dmitry Kashchaev. He has been eliminated, denazified, demilitarized. The guy is sleeping with the fishes. The guy is pushing up sunflowers. Whatever you want to say about this. But he's gone. Very high-ranking officer is the commander of the Russian 1295th logistic base, where the tanks were stored, some other tanks, and a deputy of the Arseniev City Duma is gone. And I'm not sure he's in heaven. I might think he's in hell. Well, congratulations, my friends. Again, some of the viewers of this channel might watch me be very happy about Russian losses, specifically if a high-ranking officer is eliminated. Yes, my friends, I am Estonian. My grandfather was deported to Siberia as a 4-year-old boy in 1949. We have been through what Russians do. We see that they do it still in Ukraine. So I am very happy if there are less Russians to commit genocide in my country in the future. Every eliminated Russian is a gift to the Estonian people. You might call it me being a psychopath. I call it surviving. Let me introduce you to one of these small units I just mentioned. We're talking about these smaller Ukrainian scattered defensive positions where Russians also have adapted, and they are using smaller units, 2 squad, 1 squad, these sizes 10 to 20 men, which are probing Ukrainian defenses after these bombardments. Well, this is it. They are sending wounded back to fight because these troops are not meant to break through. They're meant to soak up Ukrainian ammunition. They're meant to tire out Ukrainian defensive positions. Then they bombard again and they send another round of troops like that. Yes, this guy is on an offensive right now. This is an offensive. Can you imagine? When people say Russian offensive 2025, this is what it looks like. They're doing this every day, rinse and repeat. And these guys are gone. They're all sleeping with the fishes. It's all very nice for me. Now, my friends, I will introduce you to a Russian lady, a nice Russian lady who very slowly is beginning to see the light, because it was Russia Day, Russian National Day of Russia. So I bring you this lady who now asks important questions. I have a lot of plans today, but here's like every other day is some holiday and government offices are not working. And what the hell kind of holiday is it? Such a great holiday as Russia Day. What the hell is there to be proud of? What exactly are you so damn proud of? That you live so poorly, you're barely surviving, eating the last without even salt. Oh my god, the Russian language when they're angry is so juicy, man. It's so bad. Or that you have to kill people in order to buy yourself cars, apartments, and drink like it's your last time. She describes Russia very truthfully. I'm surprised. But by the way, you can go to jail for that in Russia right now. So a brave woman. And wear those damn medals. These medals of yours are a lifelong brand marking you as murderers. Damn, this woman knows what she's talking about. Wow, wow, we were, my friends. And your children will suffer because of it, I promise you. Damn! I gotta give credit where credit is due. This Russian woman begins to understand. Show her the light, my friends. Show her the light. Now I bring you another person. This time I bring you Sasha. This is Sasha. And Sasha was on Russian occupied territory of Ukraine, and he had been fed up with it, so he decided to walk from the Russian occupied territories through minefields and ran away from drones to come back under Ukrainian control. During his travels, he only ate bread and drank water. So Sasha, very nice. Молодец, well done. I shouldn't say it in Russian, but I don't know it in Ukrainian, I'm sorry. Well done, Sasha. And many people do that. To get back to their homeland, they gotta cross minefields. Now, my friends, we go to Novosibirsk, Russian Far East, and this is quite funny, but I mean, they post these photos. It's not me, it's Ivan himself writing up the jokes for me. 3,000 kilometers from Ukraine in Novosibirsk, security guards at the local transportation company have been issued weapons to counter drones. And look at that, they made a little photo shoot. They are ready for these Ukrainian drones spreading freedom and democracy and liberty. They have weapons. What is that, a small Makarov? What is that, a scope on an air rifle? Yes, my friends, these are air rifles. They're not real weapons, they're air rifles. And these guys, look at them. You don't want to mess with them. They're ready. Now, my friends, I would like to introduce you to a Ukrainian Claymore-styled mine. That's their production, so it's not outsourced. Of course, Ukrainians have Claymore mines also, and they have many kinds of Western mines, but this is something they made, and they're testing it. It's a directional mine, as you can tell, of course, and he's shooting it also, looking how it will affect the targets, and it's quite beautiful. Look at that. A lot of holes in that target. This here should be an occupier, and I will be very happy. See, Estonia needs these kind of mines. Western Claymore, it doesn't matter. Western, Eastern, Turkish, I don't care. We need millions of these to be put on our eastern border with Russia, so nothing, no armor, no flesh of occupier can cross our border. I am all for mining the hell out of the eastern border. I'm all for it. I'm all for closing the border and building up the new Iron Curtain, but this time to keep them out. Now, my friends, we'll look into SBU's perfect strategy of psychological warfare. They have been releasing new footage about the Operation Spiderweb day after day to keep the effect as long-lasting as possible. And this is genius. I mean, it purely is. You did the operation, but still almost 2 weeks later, still Russians are checking every truck they find in the country, and Ukrainians are releasing new videos never before seen. So the Western media talks about it, including me. I want to show you these new. This was the mini house that the truck was carrying. Look, it's like a mini house, but look at that. Drones come out on top of it. Wow, 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 my friends. And look, this is the truck transporting that mini house. This is my Luke looking at the beautiful photos of Russian airfields. Wonderful. And now we have more photos about the drones, and we go to Chelyabinsk, Russia, where from FSB headquarters, about 10 clicks away, there was a warehouse where 5 of these trucks were getting ready. 10 clicks from an FSB warehouse. I mean, this is a middle finger to the FSB in the Russian city of Chelyabinsk. Look, 5 trucks, they're traveling out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, traveling out all across Russia, and bada bing, bada boom, we know what happened next. It's beautiful, it's genius, and the effect of it is lengthened by the fact that they release new footage still about it. Because when Russian propagandists are like, hey, these planes were not destroyed, they didn't do nothing to us. Ukraine has released new footage, just point blank showing. Look at that, you don't fake that. I'm enjoying my day, my friends. As you can see, I'm enjoying it today. It's Friday also. Now, my friends, will travel to Kyiv. And in Kyiv, they've started to do something impressive that the West should adapt. Blast-resistant windows, you know. At the epicenter, of course, the windows are blown out, but every other window is intact. The thing is, usually when this blast happens, all of these windows of everything, even these other buildings, they will be blown out. If that's the old kind of Soviet-styled crystal glass. But no, all of that intact. Well done. It's a small thing. But all of these people, if it's an office building, of course, but if these people living here, they have windows now. They don't have to fix them. So this is a very big thing during wartime, that your windows are made from proper materials and they don't blow out across many streets if there is one drone hit. A very big congratulations for the Ukrainian construction companies for doing this. Now, my friends, I want to show you something from my country, Estonia, that I'm very proud of. A proud Estonian citizen, a proud moment for me. RT propagandist sentenced to 6 years in prison in Estonia. Svetlana Purtseva has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for treason and violating EU sanctions. According to investigators, she had been collaborating for years with the Kremlin media group Rossiya Zagodnya. Purtseva contributed to the propaganda outlets Balt News and Sputnik Estonia. She also worked with FSB officer and Techno head Roman Romachov. Their joint book, Hybrid War for Peace, I mean, oh my god, the title is so Russian, was deemed by Estonian authorities to be a tool of Russian propaganda. And you know what the Estonians are doing? Kapo, defensive police in Estonia, like the SPU in Ukraine. They are sending out Russians who even a little bit provocate or are dangerous to our sovereignty. And I'm so glad to see it. They just walk them to the border, dump them to the other side, to the Russian side of the Narva River crossing, and that's it. Boom, you cannot enter anymore. It's beautiful. I love it. And I'm a proud citizen of my country for the proper reaction to the occupiers. Now, my friends, I want to introduce you to one of the Russian POWs who was exchanged from Ukraine back to Russia with the recent POW exchange. He called his mother immediately on camera, and this really gives you an idea. Now, the mother doesn't lie here. It gives you an idea what really happens to these Russian POWs who are exchanged back. Why take my word for it? Take the mother's word for it. Well, to be honest, I didn't want you to be exchanged. Listen to your mom. Why are you laughing? You won't get home now. They'll send you somewhere close to the border with Belarus. They'll say that gave you up psychological help and send you back to the front. I understand that. What do you understand? You could have just stayed there in Ukrainian captivity. So the mother of the Russian soldier, occupant, is saying to him that I wish you could have stayed in Ukrainian prison because that is safer for you. That's the situation in Russia. Damn, I have nothing to do there. Okay, enough of that, but you get the point. Calling your mother and the mother is like, why did you do this? Don't come back to Russia, it's bad for you. This is it, my friends, on Russian and Ukrainian. I will now go to, and it's your opportunity to click away, because I am going to Iran, Israel. A full-scale war just broke out between those two countries, and you know what? I'm just gonna give you my viewpoint before I begin. I have no empathy for Gaza. I have no empathy for Iran. Russia can fight this war on Ukraine and they want to make genocide in the Baltic states. They can do that thanks to Iran and the allies like China. Iran is providing Russia with a lot of drones to bombard Kyiv. I've been in Kyiv and these very drones are next to me exploding. It's very scary. I've felt the fear of death there. So I have no empathy for Iran. Therefore, Israel is bombarding the hell out of Iran, taking away one of Russia's key allies. So you know where I stand as an Estonian citizen. Bombard Iran back to the Stone Age. This is what I say. So, on the early hours of night, after Thursday and before Friday, like 1 to 2 a.m. of the night, Israel started a surprise bombing raid. Not a raid, 200 fighter jets were, this is massive. They are bombarding Iran back to the Stone Age. Check it out. It just started. It's very fresh right now. And it's the biggest attack on Iran that Israel has made. IDF spokesperson says the IDF has eliminated the 3 most senior military commanders of the Iranian regime. Overnight, more than 200 Israeli Air Force fighter jets guided by precise intelligence, struck over 100 targets across Iran, including locations where top Iranian commanders were hiding. The following senior leaders were assassinated in the strikes: Mohammad Hossein Bagheri, chief of staff of the armed forces. I mean, this is big. This is the top of the top. Hossein Salami, Mr. Salami, commander of the IRGC, Ghulam Ali Rashid, commander of Qatem al-Anbiya, emergency command. So, as I said again, you can call me a psychopath. I have no empathy for the Iranian regime, and I think the more countries bombard them, the better, because they are enabling Russia to attack Kyiv and enabling Russia in the future to attack my country and commit genocide in here. So, you can see where I stand. I'm glad this happened, and I do hope these attacks from Israel continue. Last night, Israel launched a massive strike on Iran. It is reported that 2 reactors, an underground nuclear missile complex, a nuclear technology center were destroyed. So the point of this attack was to bombard Iran's nuclear capabilities, because they are trying to make a nuclear bomb right now. Israel states that they are days away from creating this, and then they make this attack bombarding nuclear facilities. 5 waves of strike also destroyed military headquarters, command posts, ammunition and missile depots. Senior military officials and more than 10 leading nuclear scientists have been eliminated. In response, Iran has launched 100 Shahed drones on Israel. The recent reports are saying that it's about 800 drones and missiles towards Israel, which Israeli and Saudi Arabian and Jordanian Air Force is already shooting down. At the time of making this video, they're shooting down these missiles and drones. One more full-scale war started. And as I said before, if you don't know where I stand with Israel, Hamas, and Iran, then I do stand with Israel. Now that you know that, make up your mind, unsubscribe, click away, whatever you want to do. But Russia wants to make genocide in Estonia. They have said it. Putin has said it. Iran is helping them. Israel is taking that ally away from Russia. I'll say that again. I stand with Israel, and I'm all for bombarding everything Iranian that helps Russia. Let's watch an interesting clip of how air traffic cleared, because this attack was a total surprise to everybody except for the United States and for the United States. So this is Iran, this is all the civilian airliners flying across, then the attack happened, and bada bim bada boom, they are clearing out one by one. The whole country gets cleared. And now the airspace is closed over Iran, and also Jordan closed the airspace. It's just an interesting video for you to see. So first of all, what was hit? I will just show you the most important ones. This is a nuclear facility in Tabriz, one of the main nuclear facilities that Iran is enriching uranium in to make a nuclear bomb. To make many of them, actually. They don't make one, they make like 15 at once. That's the goal, not only one. So Israel bombarded it, made a huge parking lot out of it. I'm glad. Then we have Natanz nuclear facility. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names and saying them wrong, but 2 main nuclear facilities in Iran have been turned into parking lots. Destroyed. Fully destroyed. Israel is quite good with the precision strikes. You can also see the facilities on these videos. Good. And just to give you an idea of how precise Israeli weapons are, and American weapons, because majority of them are American, of course. This is how Israel works. A missile strike was launched directly into a residential building. Even the windows were intact. The strike was aimed right at the bedroom of the member of the Iranian general staff. That is, they literally hit the man in the forehead with a missile. The rest of the residents of the building got off with a slight fright. 0 civilian casualties. Look at that. So that gives you an idea of what they want to do in Gaza. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza right now, and they are doing that on purpose. In this case, they didn't want to do that, so they have a capability not to do that. Meanwhile, this is the situation in Kermanshah, a city that hosts some of Iran's most significant and well-protected missile bases, such as Banjbele, one of IRCG's oldest and most important missile centers. And it's all up in flames, burning. I mean, Mossad agents, it's claimed right now that it was not just the Israeli Air Force, it was a massive amount of Mossad agents that bombarded explosives into these facilities and also used drones right outside of these facilities to bombard them with drones. It was a massive Mossad and Air Force and Army combined attack. This is not just one airstrike, this is a full-scale war. Every kind of capability is used here. Now again, this is claimed, might not be true. You can, by the time you see this video, you have much more information. It is claimed that French, American and British fighter jets are participating in the operation to intercept Iranian drones over Jordan. Iran, of course, Shah had drones. They're sending them now to Israel with missiles, about 800 air targets altogether. And it has been in the previous attacks also that Saudi Arabia, Jordan, UK, French, everybody is with their air forces actively shooting down these targets on the Jordanian airspace. Another targets were Iran's military bases along the Iraqi border. They have been severely hit by Israeli airstrikes. A video shared by Iranian media outlet shows an airstrike at Iran's Jazabeh border crossing. And you can see it right here. So yeah, they hit many different targets, nuclear targets, missile silos and missile bunkers. They eliminated nuclear scientists and chief of staff members, and they hit conventional military bases. So Iranian air defense is mostly made out of Russian air defense systems bought from Russia. And we've seen in Ukraine how they work. Well, they don't. They don't work. The only air defense activity was noted in Iran took place in Sanandaj, center of Kurdistan province. A Tor M1 air defense system launched all of its missiles and at several Israeli cruise missiles. Now this is a Russian air defense system, and this was the only instance we saw. So Iran's air defense was destroyed in the previous attack. I don't know if you remember it, but previous attack, Israel fully destroyed all of Iranian air defense capabilities. Iran effectively does not have air defense at this moment, and this attack shows it. These targets that were hit are most important in all of Iran, and they were hit with impunity. No response from air defense. Also, they struck at Iranian air defense. I'm gonna call it as they struck at Russian air defense. Israeli sources claim that IDF struck a site in Hamadan province of Iran used as a command center for all Iran's air defense systems, which may explain the minimal response for Iranian air defense. Also, in the previous big attack a few months ago, Israel destroyed S-300s and a few S-400 complexes. Again, with impunity, there was no response. They couldn't take down the missiles and fighter jets, and they were destroyed. And finally, on this topic, you can always know that US is deeply involved in something military-wise when in Pentagon area pizza orders are jumping. Check this out. This is the pizza index in the Pentagon area. Ooh, they are ordering a lot of pizza in Pentagon. It's jumping. And this kind of activity we saw in 1991 before the start of the operation in Iraq. 2001 after September 11th, 2003 before the invasion of Iraq. This is where the pizza index in Pentagon jumped. Means they are ordering a hell lot of pizzas into Pentagon. You know something's going on. My friends, as I already said my viewpoint on Israel, Iran and Hamas, maybe you were wondering where I stand with this, and I'm well aware of what's going on in Gaza. I've seen a lot of the videos and everything, and I stand with Israel. I've said it many times, since they are destroying Russia's main ally, one of the main allies of Russia, which allows them to continue this barbaric invasion of Ukraine, and then also the genocide they want to make in the Baltics that they have been talking about. Alexander Dugin has been talking about publicly for almost a decade. So you know where I stand and why I stand here. Bombard Iran into the Stone Age, and I would be all for Israel giving a lot of weapons to Ukraine. And my friends, don't let this opportunity go to waste. This book was created for you, and these missions are created by you, and it's all in here. And there are some stuff that I never was able to discuss on YouTube because it's SBU and GUR. There's secret missions that now are outdated, so I could put them in the book. So go and read about them. And there's a little surprise. Also, my honeymoon in Ukraine, it's in this book. Go and get it. Links in the description below. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye. Call out one-sided narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I can only promote brands I vet, so I think you will find Ground News as valuable as I do. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video.